In this video, I am going to provide you with the answer to a question that most of you are not even going to concern yourself with or be interested in, but here it is. And that's why most stairways have 13 steps. And if 13 is such an unlucky number, then why don't they do something about it? Or maybe the number 13 isn't really bad luck and people just kind of get carried away with it. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. The reason why most of the stairs you're going to find in a two-story home are going to have 13 steps and 14 risers will have something to do with the fact that we are using 8-foot walls and 92 1/4 inch long studs with an 1.5-inch framing plate on the bottom and 2.5-inch wide framing plates on the top. And even though a 2x8 is not going to be a common joist for a two-story house, it will be where we are going to start in this video. And if I add all of these numbers up, 3/4 inch plywood, 2x8 joist that's 7.5 inches, along with an overall wall framing height of 96 3/4 inches, or what's probably going to be more like 97 inches. And I'm not going to go over the reasons for that because it's really not going to matter in this video. We will end up with an overall total rise, total height between the top of the floor on the upper level and the top of the floor on the lower level of 105 inches. And if we divide that by 14 risers, we're going to end up with 7.5 or a 7.5-inch individual riser height. And that is a comfortable riser height that most architects and building designers are going to be comfortable using. And 14 risers will provide us with 13 steps. And realistically, that is the main reason why we're going to have 13 steps in a two-story house with 8-foot tall ceilings. Now, for those of you who are superstitious, you can always divide the total number of risers by 15 instead of 14, and that will provide you with a 7-inch riser height. And for those of you who might be in the Alcoholics Anonymous program where you have 12 steps and 13 risers, you will end up with an 8.07 total individual riser height for 13 risers and 12 steps. However, that is not all. We are going to now change the floor joist height to something that would be more common, and that would be a 2x10 or a joist that is going to be 9.5 inches wide or 2 inches taller in overall total rise or difference between the two floors. And that number will be 107 inches. If we divide it by 14, we're going to end up with a 7.64 or 7 5/8 total individual riser height. If we use 13 risers, we're going to have 8.23. And if we use 15 risers, which really won't be a problem, we'll end up with 7.13 or 7 1/8 inch riser height. Now, if we change the joist to 2x12 that are going to be 11.5 inches wide or 11.5 inches tall and provide us with a 4-inch difference between the two floors, a 2x8 and a 2x12, then we will now have a total distance of 109 inches from the top of the lower floor to the top of the upper floor. And if we divide that number by 14, we're going to end up with 7.78 or just a little over 7 3/4 inches. And if we divide it by 13, we're going to end up with 8.38. And of course, 15 individual risers will provide us with a 7.26 individual riser height or 7 1/4 inches, which will be fine if we can add one more step to the stairway. And in some cases, a building designer will not have the room to add the other step or the 14th step, which of course would take us back to the 13 individual stair steps. And I'm not going to bother going into 9-foot or 10-foot walls because that is going to get rid of our 13 steps and would ruin the fact that I made this video. So let's go ahead and end the video right here. And for those of you who are superstitious, then you can always add or subtract whatever treads and risers so that your stairway does not have 13 steps or 13 risers.